Hello, everyone. Welcome to FINA Financial Management. Before we get started, do you have any specific questions? So, Erin, did you submit your project? So, everyone, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, I already posted your grade for project 3, and I see a couple of students. They're supposed to submit by September 13, but you submit on September 14. But it's still I count that, okay, so you count as on time. So I didn't, deduct your points because that is only one day. It should be okay. So, but okay, next time you need to submit your work on time. Just make sure. Okay, so any questions before we get started?
Not right now.
Okay, good. So how is your Unit 4 capital budgeting project going? So you already started, or do you have any difficulties?
Yeah, with calculating with the calculation, yes.
Okay,
I was getting ready to start on it last night and I got at a standstill, so
okay. So how you do the calculation? You use Excel or use a calculator or use a formula? So how do you do the calculation?
I try to use Excel with my
Okay,
calculation, but I would love to know how to calculate it without using Excel.
oh, okay. Good, good. So we're gonna, okay, so the first, okay, while I'm waiting, so we are waiting, yeah, Edna, and so we have another student, but, okay, while we are waiting for her, and we just get started, so I'm going to show you some of the example and how to do capital budgeting. Okay, so the first, let me show you the example we have here. So we go to unit 4. Okay, unit 4, we have the learning materials here. Okay, so we have the capital budgeting. Okay, this is the capital budgeting. It's an example, but where's this one? Okay. So we have capital budgeting evaluation techniques. So here we have an example. So the example is going to show you how to do capital budgeting. So you can see this is the assume that project has the following cash flow. And this is the 100,000 initial investment. So basically that is your cost, okay, your cost at the beginning. So you have 50,000 additional investment in year 2, okay, and net present value net revenue less your cost in second year. And then your net revenue less cost in third year. And this is the first year. Okay, so we're gonna see what is your investment. Okay, so we're gonna have this, let's say this chart here. This is the revenue. We are going to show you here. We do a new file. Okay, let me format that. Format Excel. Right. Going to write that. Okay. So this is the investment year 1, year 2, 0, year 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, additional investment in year 2. So we can right here. So basically, we do is year, and this is a cash flows. In the year in cash flows. So the year we have. So we have a Karina come in. Okay, the year. Okay, so let's say we insert 1. Yeah, shift the cell down. Shift the cells down. Okay, this is the year 0. And this is a 1. Right? 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the cash flow, you see the initial investment, this cash flow is going to be the money goes out of your pocket. So it's going to be negative. This is the money goes out of your pocket. And the second year, additional investment. So that's going to be also goes out of your pocket. So negative. Okay. So the net revenue less your cost in year 2, that is positive. So that is going to be the positive. Okay, so that's always revenue. Okay, I'm going to okay, do that again so we can. Okay, this is what we do. Okay, so okay, for the student just come in. So what we do is chapter 4. We are learning capital budgeting, unit 4. We scroll down, capital budgeting. Click on this. Okay, so we're going to talk about the capital budgeting evaluation. Okay. So we have an example here, right? So assume the project has the following cash flow. So we do capital budgeting. Usually what we do is get all those information, the cash flow and the years format like this way. Okay. Okay, anyone has any questions? So we need those information and a format like that. Okay, this basically is the information we just copied from your learning resource. So we copy this file and now we put that information in the Excel. On the left column is year and the right column is cash flow. Okay, everyone understand what I'm doing now? Or do you have any questions?
Yes, we understand. I understand.
Okay. Good, right? So this is the first one is year zero. Year zero is that's your cost. Okay, the cost is a negative number because the money goes out of your pocket. Usually the initial investment and then the first, the second, and third or 4 years, all those cash flow are positive. But for this case, you know, second year they have additional investment. So that means the second year, the cash flow also is a negative. So we're gonna, I use the right color, remember, so either in red or either parentheses, that means negative in Excel. So we have those cash flows and they have the years. Okay, on the left-hand side column, this is the year, okay? And right-hand side column is the cash flow. Okay, another one we need is the rate. Okay, return or the rate is the discount rate. So for this case, the discount rate is 1.110. That means the discount rate is 10%. Okay, so we have this one. Let's say the rate is 10%. Okay, so we have the rate, which is 10%. 10% discount rate. Some other book they using as this return or required rate of return. That's the same meaning. Okay, so you can use it either way. Discount rate, required rate of return, or the capital budgeting. So the capital budgeting, we're using the most common one is called net present value. Okay, so we're gonna see this case. They do the discount factor and the discount value. So the total, okay, so is that what is the net present value? Okay, net present value is you sum of them up. Okay, the last column you discount it and sum them up. Okay. Okay, then the second year, okay, this is a investment for the second. Okay, I need to make sure. Okay, this is not the first year, the second year. Okay, yeah, in year 2. Year 1 does not have anything. The second year. Okay, second year you have additional investment, and actually you can add them up. Okay, that is 50,000, 75,000 is 25,000. So as for the second year, if you add them up. Okay, so we're gonna do this in this format. Okay, in this format. So that's how we do capital budgeting, right? Okay, we have capital budgeting is basically is a very important. Let me show you the capital budgeting. Okay, what is capital budgeting? This one. Okay, capital budgeting, most common way we use is a payback period. So you have the payback period. Okay, that's we're gonna learn what is a payback period and what is net present value and what is profitability index and what is internal rate of return and what is modified internal rate of return. Also, they have a discounted payback period. So, but this is the most common 6 commonly used capital budgeting techniques. The most common used 6 capital budgeting. Okay, so we're gonna do what is we're using our example. So I'm going to show you how to do the capital budgeting. And now go back to our assignment we have here. Okay, individual project. Okay. The individual project is that your neighborhood laundromat is for sale and a friend is considering investment in this business. Your friend has asked for your financial advice regarding that endeavor. And for the business alone and no other asset, the purchase price is 250,000. Okay, the net cash flow for the project are 30,000 per year for the next 5 years. The plan is to borrow the money for this investment at 6%. Okay. This is basically information for this project, right? Okay, so when you put this, this is the information we know we already have. Okay, so if I ask you the question is that, so what is it gonna be looks like? If I do, this format year, cash flow, and a discount rate. So how is that gonna look like? So this is a year 0, and then what is this one? The cell here, what the number I need to put here?
Oh, 2 years.
Yeah, this is a 2, but for this project, we have.
It's gonna be the negative something. It's gonna be.
Okay, so they're talking about, next the 5 years, right? So we're gonna say, okay, this is 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right?
Yes.
So we delete this. Okay, we don't need the cash flow for that. Okay, so what is this cash flow here?
It's gonna be
30,000.
30, yeah.
Huh?
Isn't it 30,000? The net cash flow?
The net, okay. The net cash flow for the project are 30,000 per year for next 5 years. So the 30,000 should be where? Is it here? Okay, like a D2 or D3?
D3.
Yeah, D3, right. Okay, so I'm going to put this number 30,000 D3 is now going to be red because this is a positive, right? What about D4?
D4.
Yeah, this one.
Then 30.
Is also 30,000, right?
All the way to 5 for the next 5 years.
All the way to year 5, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what the net cash flow for the project are 30,000 per year for next 5 years. Okay, so what is this one here? D2, what's the number you purchased?
250,000.
Yes. Okay, 250,000 is a negative 250,000, is that right?
Negative, yeah, have to be
Yeah,
negative.
you make it negative. Okay, so negative 250,000. So you wanted to make it that looks nicer, you just all the way to the right, right? and then you add a $sign. So that's what you see. And then you can remove the values, okay, remove the decimals. Okay, now it looks like a pretty nice, right? So
Mhm.
this is the year or the year, and then we have, okay, I'm gonna remove this. Okay, they don't have that no border thing. Okay, so you can see the year. Okay, the first one, why you put year 0? This is a year 0, that means at present. Okay, at present, which is the current at this moment. This is the cash flow, which is the initial investment. So your initial investment is the money goes out of your pocket. So that's why it's negative. Okay, what about the discount rate?
6%.
Yes, that's right. Because you borrow money for this investment is a 6%. Okay, good. Okay, so we're gonna do this is how it looks like when you have the data or you get those information, you put in a cell. So when you have this files right here, so you can do either one. Okay, we're gonna go back to the question, ask what is the net present value for this project? Okay, what is the net present value for this project? Okay, how you calculate net present value? Okay, so we're gonna do this net present value using the net present value function. Okay, the net present value function, net present value is going to be, okay, the net present value, you can use the NPV function and make it, that is net present value. Okay, yeah, NPV or net present value. Okay, so I'm going to show you the formula in Excel, which is the common way we do capital budgeting using net present value. So equal to net present value. Okay, this is the NPV, net present value. You see, when you open parentheses, it asks you the rate, right? So when they ask you rate, so you need to select the rate, which is 6%. And then comma. And then you select value 1, value 2, value 3. Okay, this is a value 1 is 30,000, value 1, value 2, value 3. Okay, it's not value 0. Okay, so you need to remember. So value 1, value 2, value 3. And then you close the parentheses. Okay, so net present value, you plus your initial investment. Why I use plus? Because your initial investment is a negative number. So everyone, so I want you, and to open that Excel spreadsheet, you pull out the Excel spreadsheet and type this formula. Okay, so when you get out there and you press enter, so you can see what is that. Okay, when you have a net present value is negative, right? In Excel, which is if that number is in parentheses, and I usually highlight that in red, that means this net present value is negative. Okay, when that is a net present value is a negative, so if net present value is less than 0, you decline the project, right? Okay, decline the project. Okay, so this is the criterion. And if the net present value is positive, you accept the project. You accept the project. Okay, this is how easy we can decide you're gonna accept the project or you're gonna decline the project. Just to see the value is positive or negative. Okay. Okay, based on this criterion, so are you gonna accept this project?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, no, don't accept because this is a negative, right?
You're losing
Yes.
money.
Yeah, so you lose money. Yeah, so the negative, that's why. So you should decline the project. Decline the project because this is a negative. Okay, net present value is a negative. You need to decline the project. You should not buy this project, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you got it. So because you buy, you see you spend 250,000 and every year you got only 30,000, right? You know, 5 years, you just times 5 is 150. So it doesn't worth doing that. Okay, I'm going to save this file and browse that. Okay, this is a okay documents. Okay, so you have any questions?
No.
Okay, so we have another way. I think the I would like to introduce is called internal rate of return. Okay, internal rate of return is okay, internal rate of return. Okay, we call this one is IRR. Okay, IRR function, which is an internal rate of return, is also a good way to do capital budgeting. Okay, internal rate of return. So what that means is that, okay, so when you do the internal rate of return, you can see the formula is equal to IRR. And then you just select all these values. Internal rate of return is different from the net present value, but it's also a very good tool or method to decide you're gonna accept the project or you decline the project, okay? See how easy it is when you do internal rate of return. So you just equal to internal rate of return and open parentheses and select all the values in the cash flow column.
That's gonna give you the same result?
It's gonna give you a percentage.
Yeah, it's gonna be a percentage. So you see,
So it's gonna be a negative 15%.
yeah, negative 15%. Okay, so we have this number. Okay, so we're gonna do the criterion. If IRR is, okay, you have the IRR is lower. Okay, is lower than the discount rate. Okay, is over that the discount rate. Okay, the discount rate for this case is 6%. Okay, so I'm not seeing this is 6%. You know, instead of a 6%, I wanted to use a more general case is discount rate. You can set your discount rate, whatever the discount rate is. So if the IRR you calculate is lower than your discount rate, you're gonna decline the project. Okay, is you're gonna decline the project, right? So if the IRR is higher than your discount rate, you accept the project. So this number is a negative 15. So we see negative 15 is lower than 6%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Less than 6%. So we need to decline the project. So you can either net present value, either internal rate of return, and both method give you the same decision, right? Same decision. You should not accept the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Okay, so I'm
You said-
going to, yeah. So because the net present value is less than 0, or net present value is negative, so we should decline the project.
Decline, yes.
Decline the project.
Yeah.
Okay. Alternatively, so we use the internal rate of return,
Uh-huh.
and the internal rate of return is negative 15%.
Yes.
Right? So the internal rate of return is less than the 6% discount rate.
So we decline it too.
We decline the project too, because the IRR also suggests that we should decline the project.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can
So,
use
but if
either
it
way,
was
yeah.
like a positive 15%, then we accept it.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so if that is a positive 15%, okay, you need to accept the project, right? Yeah, so it's a IRR. When you calculate the IRR, you need to compare the IRR with that discount rate to use.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you got a net present value, you need to compare with 0 to see it's a negative or that is positive. Okay, so is that, okay, that is the most common way we do, okay? And so I think there are some other method we used before, okay? So one of them is called profitability index. I'm going to show you the documents I have. Okay, another one is called profitability index. I think your book talking about this. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a profitability index. Okay, this profitability is not required in your like a project, but I just wanted to make sure so you understand, you learn more about capital budgeting techniques. So this is as what I mentioned, that there are 6 commonly used the method. Okay, the project using only payback period and net present value. Because I'm going to show you the other one. Okay, so what is a profitability index? The profitability index is the net present value. It is the NPV function. And remember we did that. In open parentheses, they choose 6%. And then you select all these values. Okay. And then you divide it by the negative of this value, okay? Negative of the initial investment. So if you know net present value, basically you know profitability index. So they are the same thing, but it's just a different way to show you how to decline a project or accept a project. Okay. Okay, now so did you type that formula already?
Yes.
Okay, so now click enter. Okay, so we get this one, right? So if, okay, so we're gonna see if the profitability index, PI, is less than 1, we decline the project. If that profitability index, PI, is greater than 1, we accept the project. Okay, so you calculate the profitability index, and you got 0.5, which is less than 1. So the suggestion is you need to decline the project. Decline the project. So we okay, so you can just say the formula, this one, for the net present value divided by the negative of the initial investment. Okay, so that's a profitability index. So we use some internal rate of return, and also there is another one is called modified internal rate of return. There is a modified internal rate of return. So when I do another one is called modified internal rate of return. Rate of return. Okay, so modified internal rate of return is modified MIRR. Okay, and remember, so it's going to be MIRR. Okay, the function is called MIRR, modified internal rate of return. When you open parentheses, after you type this formula, MIRR, open parentheses, you select all these values. Okay, select all of them, and then the comma, finance rate 60%, and the reinvestment rate is 6%. So you can do the modified internal rate of return. Okay, you know, this is a called modified internal rate of return. Okay, modified internal rate of return, you got that number, which is a -8%. Okay, so it's the same like this internal rate of return. Okay, so if this modified internal rate of return is less than discount rate, decline the project. If this modified internal rate of return is greater than discount rate, you accept the project. Okay. Any questions?
Professor, are there cases or projects where you had to pick only one of them, or that one of them works best, or you can use any of them in all projects?
In that project, the first question, what is the net present value? You just calculate the net present value.
Okay.
The second one is calculate this payback period. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the payback period, and we haven't do that yet. Okay, so for this project, so you only need to do is the net present value.
Okay.
But I just wanted to,
Sure.
to tell you, so there are some other way, okay? And so there are some other way to do capital budgeting, but the most common way we do is that net
Yes.
present value and internal rate of return, IRR or NPV, right? So
Mhm.
this two is the most popular one, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so-
what's the profit index formula again for the
Profitability index is going to be, okay, so you calculate the net present value of all this divided by the initial investment.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you the formula for profitability index. Okay. Profitability index is the sum of all those cash flow, divided by 1 plus the WACC. The WACC is the discount rate, and divided by your initial investment. Okay, and IO is initial investment. So the criterion is that the PI greater than 1, right? You accept the project. Less than 1, you decline the project. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to do is that, so we already finished this net present value for the first question. Let me, okay, make a copy of this file. Now I'm going to do is that the payback period. Okay, we're gonna do the payback period. How you do the payback period? So the payback period, So usually we're using is a PBP, which is a payback period, as the abbreviation for the payback period. Okay, so you have the payback period. So what is a payback period? The payback period is simple, it's talking about how long you can get your money back. Okay, so what is a payback period? Payback period is how long you can get your money back. Okay, so you invest in a project, you invest 250,000. Every year you got 30,000, and how long you can get all your money back, right? This is the payback period. Okay, so I'm going to use this, we're gonna move this one a little bit this way, so we know how we're gonna do that. Okay, the payback period. So this is the value we have. Okay, so how do you know how many years you get your money back? Okay, so we're gonna do payback period is just, sum them up and accumulate to see when the payback period become positive, right? Become positive. So you see the first year, end of the first year. So this is the cash flow generated in the first year. And then this is your initial investment, right? So basically end of the first year, so your payback period at the end of the first year is a negative, right? It's negative.
So it's the
you-
cash flow plus what?
the cash flow plus your initial investment, okay, is equal to the first year cash flow plus your initial investment.
It's plus because it's negative, right?
Yeah, because that is a negative, right?
It's that deduction, okay.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
that the first cash flow goes out of your pocket. That's the money goes out of your pocket.
Okay, got it.
So that's a negative. Yeah. Okay, so you can see when you click on enter, there's a actually a negative 220,000. So you still need 220,000 to get all your money back because you got only 30,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about the second year? The second year, you can see, okay, you equal to this 30,000 cash flow plus the end of the balance, the balance at the end of the first year. Okay, this is gonna be this one. Okay, 30,000 plus I3, right? I3 is the balance
Okay.
at the end of the first year. Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that's the formula for this one. Here is the cash flow plus the balance at the end of the first year.
Which is a negative 190.
Yeah, negative 190. Okay. So after that, okay, you don't need to do that calculation anymore. So you just scroll all the way down. You move your cursor become a cross, you know, the cursor becoming a cross at the right bottom corner.
Mm-hmm.
You drag all the way down. So you need to drag all the way down this one as well. And then you select a 4 and a 5 and all the way down. So to see, you know, you gotta extend the years. Okay, extend the years. You see when or which year. So the number here become from negative become positive.
Got it.
So you see that, you see year 9, year 8, this number is still negative, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, all those payback period are negative. So year 9 become positive. Okay, so that means your payback period is somewhere between year 8 and 9. So your payback period is about 8 to 8 to 9 years. 8 to 9 years. So that's your payback period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so sometimes you wanted to know, okay, what exactly, how many years, is that? Okay, you think about year 9, the total revenue you generate is 30,000, and so you don't need 30,000. You only need 10,000, right? So the balance is only 10,000. So that means the whole year you generate 30,000, you only need 10,000 to get all your money back. So it's one third of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1/3 of the year is going to be 1.333 years. Okay, that's how you wanted to know exactly what is how many years you got your money back. So it's 8.333 years. That's your payback period. So your payback period is 8.33 years, right? Okay, now we go back to the, okay, so the payback period you calculate is 8.333 years. If your desired payback period is 5 years, are you, okay, if you desired payback period is 5 years, okay, somewhere like a 5 year. So are you okay with that?
No.
Yeah, right. You are not going to be happy with that, right? You're not going to be happy with that because you wanted to get all
At
your
least
money
be
back.
a positive.
Yes, you wanted to get all your money back in 5 years. Now it takes 8.3 years. So it's beyond your
Right.
expectation,
It's a
right?
long time. Mhm.
Yeah, it takes a much longer time than 5 years. So you're not going to be happy with that. Okay, so that's basically you are not going to accept the project. You know, you're not going to accept the project because you spend $250,000. You want your money back in 5 years, but actually it takes 8.3 years to get your money back.
Mhm.
Right? Okay. So this is the first and the second question. How would you evaluate an investment? What would be a good price at which to purchase this business? Okay, they want you to give a price. Okay, they want you to give a price. And so how would you evaluate this investment? Do you think this is a good investment if you spend $250?
No.
No.
You
That's
lose it.
not good, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, they're really not good. So we wanted to know what exactly the price is a good price. Okay, whatever will be a good price. Okay, how do you know the good price? Okay, the good price at least. Okay, so I'm saying that at least the net present value equal to 0,
Oh.
right?
Mhm.
If you set the net present value equal to 0, and by change the initial investment, it'll give you the value, okay? Let's see, you know what we have here. We're gonna do insert. Okay, we have the data here. So click on solver, so we can solve for that. Okay, we're using solver. Okay, and okay, so how you get this solver thing right here. So you need, if you didn't see that, you click on data on your Excel spreadsheet, you don't have a solver. So you can go file, click on, okay, click on more. Okay, you choose option. And then you go to, it's called add-ins. Okay, add-ins. And then you go, okay, add-ins. Okay, scroll all the way down. And then you click on Excel add-in, you click on go. Okay, and then you choose analysis 2-pack and solver. So you click on this too.
Mhm.
Yeah, click on OK. And then you will see the data analysis and the solver button right here. If you didn't do that originally, the Excel does not come with it. So yeah, do have to do that. Okay, then you can see the button.
I don't see that on mine.
Okay, you already see that on your Excel.
No, I don't.
Okay, we do that. Okay, go to file again.
It won't.
And more, and then click on option. And then click on add in. And then you see the go, click on the Excel add-ins and click on go. And then you select data analysis, analysis 2-pack, and the solver. Okay, click on OK. And then you'll see data, click on data tab. You should see this too.
It done froze up on me.
Okay, yeah. Okay, just wait a minute. So you should be able to see that.
Yeah, because I did went to the steps you said, and then it won't even let me click nothing. It's making that sound like.
Oh, okay. It's a frozen. Yeah, I see your computer. We just wait a little bit. You know, sometimes the computer running slow. Okay, so I'm going to show you, maybe later so you can watch the video and to know how I do that. Okay, you can see the solver here. You click on solver. Yeah, so set objective. Okay, so set objective, that means so which one you need to set. Okay, so I want to set the net present value here. Okay, the net present value equal to value of 0, because if we wanted to say the net present value, right, equal to 0 by changing variable cells, by changing this one, the initial investment.
Okay.
Okay, change this one. Okay, then now you just click on solve. Okay, click on solve. Okay, and then you click on keep solver solution, click on OK. See? What is the value here?
I guess 0. It's a negative.
No, it's
okay. This one, yeah. So what will be the price you paid for, and you get this net present value equal to 0. Okay, so we didn't got any answer, right? Okay, so I'm going to change this one to this formula. Let's say we change this formula to negative. Okay, let's see, to negative. Okay. So we do that again, solver, and this is D. Okay, we set this one equal to 0, and this is the value of 0 by changing this cell. Okay, we solve. And click on OK. So, okay, so this way we have this the price.
Okay.
Yeah, so you change this. Yeah, this is the price you need to pay for. Okay, so we need to see this minus D2. Okay, we are not, because usually we put negative, now it's a Y. Okay, is a minus D2, and then you can see this is the price. Okay, using that solver. All what you can do is that we have the other function is called net present value. Okay, and so you can see the net present value, or you do how much that price is gonna be. Okay, you can do is using the function we call the net present value function. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. Is net present value function, right?
Mhm.
Select a rate 6%, and you just select all those numbers.
Okay.
Okay, just select all those numbers. Okay, all the values and the rate, that's gonna be the net present value. Okay, it's going to give you the price. Okay, so this is the price. You see exactly this, right? The same number. Or using silver, or using the net present value to calculate the price. So the price that you're supposed to pay is, this is the question 3, reasonable price to buy. Okay. So the reasonable price, if you spend only 126,370.91. Okay. Okay, how would you evaluate this investment? What would be a good price to purchase, right? Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to watch the video.
Okay, so you have the solver, right? You can do solver, or either you don't know how to do solver. You're just using net present value function, and then you choose the rate 6%. Okay, when you open parentheses, it will give you a hint, and you see the rate, right?
Mhm.
And then give you comma, and then value 1, value 2, value 3, and just all those values starting from value 1. Okay, and then you close the parentheses. Okay, now you click on enter. So that gives you the price. Okay, that's the reasonable price to buy this laundry. Okay, for the other, the other, the one we did before is here. So net present value, internal rate of return, or the profitability index, something like that, and also modify the internal rate of return we did. Okay, you don't need to know all those, like a profitability index, modified rate of return, or internal rate of return. So the project is much easier, simpler, and then you only need the net present value
Mhm.
and the payback period. The payback period, right? That's the only two things that you need to answer.
Okay.
Good. So I think this project is similar to the one you have in previous week, and it's going to include a title page, and
This is a
oh,
PowerPoint.
you needed a PowerPoint. Okay, that's gonna be 15 slides. Is a PowerPoint slides. You know what PowerPoint slides? How to do that?
Yes.
Okay, so the PowerPoint slides is going to be okay. You open that Excel PowerPoint. So the title page, you see the title page is a little bit different. The title page is only like this way, right?
Mhm.
And then the content page, you just click on that. You add another page, you see the content. This is your title and this is the text. but the title page is this, right? So you can name your project and put on your name here. So let's say your name, and then you need to put your name right here. So that's the title page, and this is the content page, 15 pages, all the way. And then the 15 pages, the last one, at least is your references. Here you have references at the last page, and this is the title page. Is basically is the capital budgeting and your name on the first page. So the okay, I'm going to show you the role for capital budget for the PowerPoint slides. Okay, so PowerPoint slides, you don't have to type a lot of words, make people think it's harder to read. What is 5 times 5 by 7 row? What is 5 by 7 row in your PowerPoint slides? Okay, like a PPT or something. So what is a 7 by 7 row in PowerPoint? You know what that means? Have you ever heard what is 7 by 7 row in PowerPoint?
No.
Oh, it's my first time actually.
Okay, so that means if you do the PowerPoint, okay, is that every slide use no more than 7 lines of text.
Oh, bullet points.
Or 7 bullet points. And so it's a okay, each line, each line, sometimes no more than 7 words. Because that is what that means. Basically, the meaning is that, do not type a lot of words on the PowerPoint slide. The presentation is people come to listen. Your presentation is just come here to listen. You don't want the your audience just read your PowerPoints. You know what I mean? So they have to get distracted, and they spend a lot of time read your slides. So try to make it simple, make it simple. And people easy to read. Even they sit very far from the screen, so you can read. And so the most, the worst sin is, I'm going to show you worst sin is that, you copy or do a lot, words that, and then you put in the PowerPoint slide, and that is, like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is a good?
No.
It's too busy.
It's not good, right? Yes. This is the good presentation is, is like very simple and easy to follow. It's not you put a lot of words, people cannot concentrate. So, okay, this is the example. I think this is the example that he did. 7 by 7 row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this is a lot. That's right. So we on the 7 by 7 row is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Not many, lines. You see. So now this is much clearer, right?
Yeah, it's easier to read. Yeah.
Yeah, easier to read. And if you think, okay, so I say, you think, oh, how can you make a 15 slides? You can insert some pictures.
So we can insert like the calculations that we did from Excel into one slide.
Yes,
and then just kind
yeah,
of
sure,
explain
you
what
can
we
do
did.
that, you know, the calculation. And so you wanted to do, you know, let's say you want this result here, you copy and paste, or you just take a screenshot and
Yes.
then you paste in that file, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so try to make simple and easier to read. Try to type a lot of words like this one, you know.
So
And
each slide gotta have seven highlights.
yeah, so yeah, and no, you know, my expectation is that the rule is a 7 by 7, but you don't have to be 7. You know, you just the maximum is 7 lines, right? And each line no more than 7 words. That's the most of the PowerPoints they do. Okay, so you just maybe you don't need 7. You might be only 5 lines or something, and just try to make your presentation in simple and easy to follow.
Whew, my 15 slides. Whew.
Yeah, so you don't have to type a lot of words. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you add some like some pictures, right? You can add some pictures, and you can add some let's see the cell we have here. You can insert, you know, some different shapes,
Mhm.
different type of shapes, or using some icon or whatever, you know, some icons,
So
3D
Professor,
model, smart arts. Yeah.
so in other words, we just have to explain what you did, right?
Yeah, you explain all those the 3 questions right here.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then we can add the Excel things to it. You just put like a little
Yeah.
note under each. Okay.
yeah, answer all these 3 questions. Answer these 3 questions. You can
Which the questions have questions within the question.
yeah. So you can do the Excel, you know, the result that you in that PowerPoint slides,
Okay.
or you add some pictures, you know.
So in other words, we just describe each step that you just did, like
Mhm.
pretty much for each step that you did is basically describing.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, just you know, describe and present your results and clearly, easy to read. For that presentation, it's different from a word paper from previous project. You write a lot, you know. This one, you don't have to write a lot. So you can use different colors, and then you can using some pictures, right? So you can, like say you design and using different insert some pictures, and you find some pictures from the internet, whatever, or you draw a picture by yourself, you know, the different shapes. So or you have some smart arts, but the thing is that don't write a lot on each page, you know, it's very difficult to read.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, also refer to the gradient rubric and to see if you miss anything or you need to include something.
Introduction and conclusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got
Okay, so I think and I give you some time to work on that because you know, you might need to submit. So submit. Don't
All
delay.
this is due tonight, right before midnight.
Yeah,
I'll try.
is that okay? So you know the project we did here. Okay, so you for this project, you only needed to do is the net present value and the payback period. So the payback period, you don't have any formula, you don't need any formulas, just subtraction. And to follow the format, I organize this Excel spreadsheet, put all the years on this left-hand side column, the cash flow on the right-hand side column, and then just subtract, and this is the payback period.
Okay.
The net present value is the function is called NPV, equal to NPV function, and that it give you the rate, and then you select all those value 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the payback period.
Okay.
So all the others like internal rate of return, is that is not required for this project, but I just present this to you because I think it might be helpful, because other textbook, they use they told you have other ways to do capital budgeting.
Okay.
So you just showed us different ways.
Yeah. Yes. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah. Okay. So this is a I think yeah, that's all for today. Do you have any questions?
No, I just wish this class was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, me too.
So
Me too.
That's
hard.
what I was thinking, the same thing, because I need
Okay,
an
so,
extra
yeah.
day for all
Okay, I
this
give you
every
guys,
week.
one more days, and you can turn it in.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate it. God. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
turn
know,
it in by
it's like-
end of tomorrow or something.
Cause you
Yes.
change my whole concept every week. I'll be like, I got it on point. I think I'll be on point. And then you come on Tuesday and I'll be like, man, none of that's right. I'm all lost. I have to redo every project. I was like, man.
I don't know
Okay.
why they put on the second, the Tuesday. So they start on Wednesday, and then this is
Yeah,
every
this
Tuesday.
class should start on the first day because it's confusing. Once you explain it, it makes sense, but I had to wait until
Yeah.
Thursday.
Same here.
because
Same
You
here.
be trying to do it yourself and you be so confused. I was confused. I
Yes,
actually tried to say, let me do this like yesterday to turn it in. And then I started reading and I was like, okay, I'll wait till tomorrow.
Man, hey, same here. Cause I like that last project.
I
was
think that
all
maybe
lost.
yeah, maybe the goal is that they want you to try to do it by yourself,
Yeah, that is
First-
the goal.
Yeah.
But
So
using them calculators and you doing stuff on Excel, I didn't even know. I'm trying to use the calculators and stuff, and I'm like, man, what's going on?
And
And
now you
then
did it, it seems easy.
when you did it on Excel, I was like, oh, okay, it's much easier on Excel because I literally like everything you could do on Excel. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had the two different calculators, and then you be like, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
We
right.
good.
Oh yeah, thank you for the extra day, Professor, because I do need it.
Hey, join the club.
Okay. Yeah, so if you couldn't submit by the end of tonight, so submit by tomorrow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to count that later. So if you submit by tomorrow, we will not deduct 10%. So if you this the project for this week, but you're supposed to do that by the end of today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
try
next
to do
don't
it.
even have
Try
a
to
project,
submit.
right?
Yeah, so push yourself. Give you a deadline. Otherwise, you will not finish.
No, we will.
Okay.
But if I push myself and then turn in what I be having, and then you show me this on Tuesday, it'll be all backwards.
Mhm. Yeah,
It'll be all wrong. I mean, like really wrong.
No, yeah.
okay.
Trust me on that.
All right, but we appreciate the extra day.
Yeah, the
We sure do.
presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, I told you guys, don't write a lot. You need don't write a lot, every PowerPoint slide, you just like no more than 7 lines, and each line no more than 7 words. That's it.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah, add some pictures, or the result from your Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
And
I have a better idea now.
Yeah,
appreciate the love, man, because that extra day gonna make it right. Appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you.
good.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Professor. I appreciate it.
Okay,
All right.
see you.
Till
gonna-
next week.
You gonna
Yeah.
get a good rating from me on that.
Look, I never
question
did
now.
a review before. I think
I do a review every time because
I-
they actually look at that because I know at the campus they be looking at those reviews. That's why if you notice they listen to the professor because usually on the 5th week you have work, but they stopped there because it was piling up on the professors as well as it was piling up on us. So that's why they knocked out the 5th week. I talked to the
they ain't do it in all the classes.
Mhm.
No, they just started. Like literally, if you notice, you have nothing to do next week.
Not in his class, but my other class, I definitely do.
Yeah, I also have
No,
another class.
well, I must be blessed. God is good on my
You
side.
are
'cause
blessed because I have a message.
Neither one of mine, I'm shooting. Next week, I'm on chill mode.
Okay.
Well, I'm not on chill mode.
You're lucky.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
most definitely.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna start my project. Thank you so much, Professor, and I'll talk to you guys
Okay.
next week.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
see you next week.
All right, I'll
All
holler
right,
at
y'all
y'all
have a
next
good
week.
night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Mhm.
Hello, everyone. Today is our net present value and payback approach presentation. So what is net present value? It tells us whether something is a good investment. We learned about present value. Present value is what future money is worth today. Well, net present value formula takes us one step further. It will tell us if our investment is a good idea. It takes a look at a project's future cash flows, tells us what they're worth right now, and if they are more or less than the money we have to lay out for the project. Net present value formula is the initial investment plus the present value of the cash flows. The concept is actually simple. Which investment should you take? And if you do the math, you'll know exactly what the right investment is. Let's take an example of my brothers and a proposition. My brother on the right, Frank, my oldest brother, told me about a great deal. He said, if I give him $5,000 now, he will give me 10 grand in 10 years. $5 right now, and I get 10 grand in 10 years. Sounds like a good deal, but is it? Well, what is that gift worth right now? $10,000 in 10 years is worth what right now? Well, let's calculate it. $10,000 in 10 years. I did this in the present value class a little bit ago. $10,000 in 10 years at a 10% interest rate is worth $3,855. That means if you put $3,855 in the bank right now at a 10% interest rate, you will have 10 grand in 10 years. So the future value is 10 grand, number of periods is 10, interest rate 10, compounding 1 time per year. The present value of this future sum of 10 grand is $3,855. So first we have to get the present value of 10 grand in 10 years. 10 grand in 10 years is worth $3,855. That means that if you want 10 grand in 10 years, you need to put $3,855 in the bank today to earn 10% interest to get you to 10 grand. So let's plug in that data to the net present value formula. I lay out 5,000 right now, but the present value of the cash flows of 10 grand in 10 years is 3,855. Negative 1,145 is the net present value. If the net present value is positive, it's a good investment. This is not a good deal. I could just put my money in the bank and nothing would happen and I would get my money back in 10 years. So this is not a good investment. I put 3,855 in the bank and I get 10 grand in 10 years. Why should I give him 5 grand, right? Let's talk about my other brother. My brother on the left, my brother Michael, told me about a great deal. If I give him $2,000 now, then he would give me 10 grand in 10 years. Is this a good investment? Back on the story. Remember, we will get the present value of 10 grand in 10 years. 10,000 in 10 years is worth 3,855 right now. Plugging it in, negative 2,000 plus the present value of the cash flows, I needed to change that, is positive 1,855. If my net present value is positive, it is a good investment. This is a good deal. Yay, Michael. So let's do the homework. My friend wants to buy a laundromat. She actually did buy the laundromat, and she's looking to sell it now within 5 years. What? Was it a good deal? Okay, her deal was that she had to pay $100,000 and will earn $10,000 per year for 5 years. So her initial investment was $100,000, and she got $10,000 back over the last 5 years. At the present value factor of 5% interest rate, her net present value is negative $56,705. Not really a good deal. When is the payback period? When does she get her $100,000 back? It'll take 10 years to get that money back. And that is how to do the homework assignment. You have your cash flow and laid out $100,000. It'll take you 10 years to get that money back. Is this a good investment? Well, it's a long time to get your money back in 10 years. And the net present value is negative. If that is the case in any project, it should be rejected. Thank you for listening. God bless, and have a great day.
Now that we have examined the main concepts and tools in finance, we are ready to discuss how managers analyze and carry out key financial decisions at their respective enterprises. Decisions are either long-term or short-term. In this presentation, we focus on the main long-term decisions facing companies: capital budgeting decisions, valuation issues, and capital structure choices. Capital budgeting, also known as CB decisions, are probably among the most important tasks faced by the management of any type of business. New product launches, new marketing campaigns, plant modernization, business expansions, or contraction are examples of CB tasks. Basically, the whole subject of CB could be collapsed into a single question: should a project under consideration be accepted or rejected? To answer this vital question effectively, we need to be familiar with CB techniques such as payback, net present value or NPV, and internal rate of return or IRR methods. In addition to being able to apply these methods to any CB situation, we also need to be able to determine the relevant cash flows or CFs for all projects under consideration. Briefly then, each project has three types of cash flows: initial CFs, operating CFs, and terminal CFs. Generally speaking, initial CFs are negative in nature. They are the costs of getting the project off the ground, and the other two are positive. Although finding operating CFs can be complex, we can define an operating or periodic cash flow as the sum of periodic net income after taxes plus periodic depreciations. It is almost impossible to think of any financial decision that does not depend on valuation. In fact, valuation lies at the heart of any CB decision. Consider NPV, for example. NPV is essentially about valuation, valuing cash flows. Furthermore, valuation techniques are used to price all sorts of decisions, from recruitment decisions to buying, selling, and expanding businesses, and from launching new units to shutting down plants and operations. Generally, we may value the right-hand side of the balance sheet, stocks and bonds, or the left-hand side, the assets. Additionally, valuation could be based on current market dynamics, market value-based, or past and historical figures, book value-based. Normatively, finance requires always looking to the future for making present-day decisions. As a result, market-based valuations that are built upon projected future cash flows are the norm. Bottom lines and consequently market values are also affected by the extent to which companies use debt to finance their assets. The structure of debt and equity within a business, in effect, the right-hand side of the balance sheet, is known as capital structure or CS. CS becomes a key decision issue for management because as companies start using more and more debt, they become more and more risky. Such risk is referred to as financial risk. Management should move toward an optimum CS. Another risk that affects the bottom line has to do with the extent to which a business utilizes fixed assets in its operations. This latter phenomenon gives rise to operating risk, also known as operating leverage. The higher the proportion of fixed assets in a balance sheet, the higher the risk the company faces. How do we explain this phenomenon? In times of economic downturn, companies will find it difficult to recover large fixed expenses.
So previously, when we were using spreadsheets, we were heavily meeting dependent. It took us hours to update our tasks and our projects. It was crazy. We found out about Monday.com.
Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about capital budgeting in Excel. Just to let you know, it's going to be a lot like your forecasting week when we taught you how to do all your forecasting. But the good news is we're going to make it a little bit simpler on you for the fact that you might remember we had a whole list of different fixed costs for you to calculate. This week we're just going to say, hey, you have this many fixed costs this year, because what we really want you to do is see the bigger picture of capital budgeting, what we're trying to do, and that's compare our cash inflows to our cash outflows and taking the present value of those streams and calculating our NPV, our internal rate of return, our return on investment. So, like I said, we're gonna try to make it a little bit easier by not including all those into the analysis, yet you could. So if we wanted to, we could go analyze using a lot of those incremental costs. So if we added employees, what is that incremental cost going to affect the project, stuff like that. But right now, we're just worried about concepts and want you to get to know it. So hopefully this is easier because it's visually less on the eyes. But yes, the calculations are still a little complicated. Yes, the concepts are complicated. So let's take it nice and easy and help you guys with it. So first off, I want to talk to you about incremental cash flows. Incremental cash flows that we're using are, I'm gonna create this project, I'm gonna purchase this software, you might say. Well, what's that gonna do? I'm gonna get so many more sales, and there's going to be costs associated to those sales. So those are all incremental based on what we're going to do moving forward. So a lot of your marketing stuff is, if I have a marketing campaign, there's going to be a lot of costs associated with that, but I might be selling more of something. So it's not for the analyzing all of your sales, it's those sales that are associated to you introducing a marketing plan. So remember, incremental cash flows, we're using incremental cash flows. So to build this, you want to have, let's see, we're going to start with our units. So we're going to have so many units, we're going to have a price per unit. We're going to have a cost per unit. And let's set those up right now. Years, we're going to have 0 through 5. I'll explain the 0 part later when we'll talk about our initial outlay. And our initial outlay for this example is going to be purchasing some software to increase sales of whatever we're selling. So I'm going to have increased sales of 20,000 units in year 1. In year 2, 40,000. 75,000 in year 3. 75,000 in year 4, and then only 30,000 in year 5. And the price per unit is 70, 70, 70, 45, 45. And so maybe I'm selling a video game, right? The first 3 years, this video game is really cool, and then in years 4 and 5, something else comes out, so it's not as cool. So, there's less demand for it, so our price is going to go down. And we'll talk about supply and demand later on in economics, but something to think about. Cost per unit, we're going to say it's 20 across the board. And these are our inputs, right? So you can label it inputs if you want. I'm not going to right now, but let's calculate our incremental revenue, our incremental variable costs, and our incremental fixed costs. So we'll have fixed costs too. And for our example, it's going to be $50,000 of incremental fixed costs associated with implementing a project of this sort. Our revenue is going to be our units times the price per unit. So no different. And we can format all these cells. So let's do that. And I want dollars on here. these two are going to be formulas. So I'm going to color the cells because whenever I create a formula, I just want to highlight it so I know never to touch it, because if that formula is right, I could only mess around with my inputs. There's no reason to touch a formula, so we're always going to be using it. Our variable costs are equal to the units times our cost per unit. You guys should remember both of those from the week we talked about forecasting. I told you our incremental fixed costs are $50,000 for every single year. So I'm going to drag that across. And this is going to give me total cash flow. And it's going to be our incremental revenue minus our incremental variable cost minus our incremental fixed costs. Now, I told you there's initial outlay, right, that we need to consider. So I'm actually going to insert a few rows, initial outlay, and this is the cost of software, and I said it was going to cost me. Oh, I did that on the wrong one. Sorry, guys. So our initial outlay, cost of software. In year 0, it's going to cost me $2 million. And it's a one-time purchase, right? And I'm only doing it right away. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I'm going to also make this negative, and I'll explain why in a second. You can drag this formula over. So our total cash flow is equal to our initial outlay times 0, and then your incremental revenue minus incremental variable cost minus incremental fixed cost for every single year. And this is a formula, so I'm going to highlight those. And then we need to take the present value for cash flows. So negative PV, so when you start your present value formula, you always do negative. Your rate, well, we don't have that yet. So I need to put some stuff at the top. I call this cost of capital. That's the rate that we're going to use. And I think we're assuming a cost of capital of 15% for this project. So our present value of cash flow is equal to negative PV, the rate. So go up top and make sure you have the dollar signs around it, because when I carry that to the right, I do not want for C2 to move at all. The time, I'm going to click 0 because it's time 0 for that first initial outlay. Your payment is 0, so comma 0, comma, your future value is that total cash flow. And you widen the column and get rid of the decimals, and then you can drag that across. You might be wondering, how could $2 million have a present value of $2 million? It's because it's at time 0. So if you discount anything at today's time, so if I were to give you $1 right now, it's worth $1. So same idea here. We're purchasing this this software, and we're going to do everything right after that. So at time 0, our initial outlay, $2 million, discounted $2 million. So we have our present value of cash flows. Also, I said I told you I would let you know why I made the initial outlay negative. It's a cash outflow, right? So anything that we are, it's coming out of our pocket, that needs to be a negative. So yes, for total cash flow for years 1 through 5, I said minus that 400, minus that 50. If you wanted to make those negatives, and then just summed up that column, you can do that as well. It's all preference. But I'm just letting you know that your total or your initial outlay anyhow should be negative, because when we look at assess the project, you can see here my total cash flows are 9,125,000, and my cost to do this project is $2 million initially. So just something to consider. Now we can calculate our NPV and our IRR and that fun stuff. So just to let you know, we have, it's very easy since we already calculated our present value of cash flows. It's just the sum of those. So $4 million. Our IRR is equal to, oh, I should actually show you a check. So if you wanted to, if you're good with formulas in Excel, there's an NPV formula, and it's simply your interest rate, comma, the value of your inflows. So we're bringing those in, your the cash in from the project from 1 to 5, right? Then you subtract out your initial outlay, $2 million. So it's just another check. But here I have to add it because add D19 because it's already showing as a negative. So just a check if you want to do it. IRR is just equal to IRR, and it's you take it out of the total cash flows, not your PV of cash flows, your total cash flow line, because what IRR is calculating is at what cost of capital does my budget have to be where my NPV is 0. So a higher IRR is great because that means I'm getting these high present values of cash inflow compared to my initial cash outflow. So good high IRR, we're very happy. Now when we're deciding to do these projects and whatnot, the best indicator is the NPV. We're not going to do a project that would provide us a negative stream of cash flow. What's the point, right? We're all here to make money. So we're also going to talk about mutually exclusive projects. If you were given 2 projects and you had to decide on just one, so they're mutually exclusive, you can't do both, you can only do one. You would do the project that gives you the higher NPV, and it's providing you with the highest present value of cash flows in that point. And your return on investment, we're going to calculate that for you guys as your NPV over your initial outlay. So I'm gonna make it negative, the initial outlay, because it's negative right now. But all I want to do is take my NPV divided by that number. So we're getting, this should be a percent too. We're making over 200% on this project. Now, if I were to bump my cost per unit up to say 50 every year, you'll see what happens. I'm getting an NPV of negative 500,000. So I would not want to do this project if my incremental cost per unit went up that high. Then you can see I'm taking a hit on my return on investment. So that's something you can do. And then we're doing a percent of sales increase for your sensitivity analysis. So I'm going to show you how to do that really easily. And we're going to do it based on our units. Again, this is a formula, so anything formula driven, I'm highlighting. I'm going to put a row in here called units percent, and we're going to change our calculations so that your sensitivities work very easy. It's just equal to this times the percent of sales, and you want to lock in C3. So make sure you put the dollar signs around it. You can drag that across, and this is now a formula, so I'm going to highlight it, and then we're going to change our row 14, 15, incremental revenue, incremental variable costs to be as a part of this units percent line. So instead of multiplying a E8, we want to multiply E9. And you want to do the same thing for your variable costs, E9. And you want to drag that across. So now when we're doing our sensitivity, we're saying, you know, look at 80% of the units. You know, what would happen if you made it 80% instead of 100%? And maybe we can be more optimistic. Maybe we expect sales to be 20% more. So just another way of looking at our parameters here. So if I did 80, you can see we're still in the clear here on the NPV. If I dropped it down to 50, I wonder what would happen. Still good. So right now, when we're looking at cost per unit with a $20 and we're selling it for 70, we're getting a margin of $50. It's pretty high. So you know, going back to the $50 margin, I'll show you what happens. If we were looking at 80% of sales, we're in the negatives here. We're not going to do this project. So if we were a little pessimistic about it with that high of cost per unit, we won't do it. Same if we dropped it, say we dropped it down to 40. So $1 million is our MPV, and 80% of that, actually we'd still be doing it. So you can see how we can play with our spreadsheets a lot. Hope this was helpful. Hope you guys are enjoying learning all about incremental cash flows and capital budgeting, and seeing how easy it is to do it in Excel and how you don't want to do it by hand.
We will explain what capital budgeting is and why companies use it when making strategic decisions. Then we will continue by introducing two fundamental notions for those of you who need a quick refresher: the time value of money and discounting cash flows. Once we have covered these topics, we will be ready to introduce a few techniques that allow us to answer the two most important questions in capital budgeting. Does the investment make sense? And is this the best alternative we have? We'll study the payback method with the NPV and IRR techniques. Then we'll talk about the typical discount rates companies use to measure a desired rate of return and account for risk and the time value of money. We'll also learn about the cost of equity, cost of debt, and the weighted average cost of return, WACC. At the end, we'll be able to wrap it up with a great example featuring a company that tries to assess an investment opportunity and compares it with other alternatives. Sounds great, right? Okay, let's dive straight in and learn more about capital budgeting.
We're in their corner and on it because their local agent is a small business owner too.
Capital budgeting, also known as capital asset planning, is a term relating to the decision-making process companies go through when they must determine whether to invest in a specific long-term initiative or asset. In addition, capital budgeting is used as a tool allowing company executives to compare alternatives they have when making strategic decisions. Let's provide a few examples of decisions that merit an extensive capital budgeting investment analysis. We will typically use capital budgeting techniques when assessing the investment in a new production plant, the acquisition of a new ERP system, R&D activities related to a new project, expanding our existing warehouse, purchase or leasing new vehicles, invest a significant amount in employee training, and so on. These projects differ greatly from each other, but have a few traits in common. All are long-term and represent decisions that will shape the company's success in the years to come. In addition, these initiatives require a significant initial investment, and making the right calls becomes even more important, as no investments can be easily reversed. Okay, great. So, capital budgeting is an assessment method we apply when we must decide on an investment for which a large amount of money and risk is involved, decisions are irreversible, and might impact our business for the years to come. Awesome. When we try to assess a project's feasibility, we must consider three main parameters: capital that will be invested, the project's timing, and the return we could expect. The core principle of finance is that money today is more valuable than money tomorrow. The rationale behind it is that money we receive today has a potential earning capacity. This is why every person would prefer to receive money sooner rather than later. Hence, timing is one of the most important topics when we talk about money. Let's imagine we will be paid $1,000, and we are offered to choose whether to receive it today or after 1 year. If we choose to receive the money today, we can go to the nearest bank and deposit it for 1 year. Given that the bank wants to attract such deposits, it will pay interest on our money. Let's imagine the bank would pay us 3% if we leave our money there for a year. In 1 year, we will collect our initial $1,000 and we will be paid 3% of $1,000. We will have $1,030 total. Had we received $1,000